Good morning, fellow bikers, or Boredar, as we say here in Wales. Bonjour to my French viewers. I'm really excited about today's ride. I'm taking the bike up to the Llyn Brianne Dam, which is in the county of Powys. It's some of the most spectacular scenery, I would say, in the whole of Wales. There's the red kite bird, which is once endangered, which is now quite prolific up there. Some absolutely stunning scenery. My start point is going to be the market town of Llandovery, the Owl's Nest Tea Room, and I'm going to be doing a circular tour of around 50 miles. I'll be passing the cave of the Welsh Robin Hood, a gentleman who was known as Llyn Brianne, and then going down a very, very steep hill through the Abergwesin Pass, which is also known as the Devil's Staircase. I'll tell you a bit about Llandovery. Its name in Welsh means church enclosure surrounded by two rivers. Welsh place names are quite literal, and the word Llan in Welsh, L-L-A-N, means church enclosure or parish in English. It's also the home to Prince Charles's Welsh residence, which is just outside the town. And back in 1401, there was a Welsh hero who was executed there. His name is Llywelyn ap Griffith, and he was fighting with the English, but in fact he was a spy, and he was running the English army round in circles while they were trying to hunt down Owen Glyndŵr. But his treachery got found out, and sadly he was hung, drawn and quartered in the town. So there's now been a piece of art, like a sculpture, put up to remember him by. I'll show you that a little bit later on when I'm in Llandovery. Meanwhile, I'll get myself togged up, get the bike ready, and I'll see you in a bit. This map shows the route from the Owl's Nest Tea Room out of Llandovery, heading northward towards the dam. Well, folks, I'm in Llandovery. I'm at Llandovery Castle, next to the statue to the great Llywelyn ap Griffith. He was killed in 1401, as I mentioned earlier, for being treacherous to the King of England while he was helping Owen Glyndŵr. He's been compared to a Welsh braveheart, and the stainless steel monument you can see behind me was made by two brothers in St Clair's, the Peterson brothers. I really like this. I'm not particularly keen on modern art, but it's almost like an empty body representing any brave person. It's a nice monument. Right, I'm now at the cave of Llyn Brianne. Now, Llyn Brianne was the Welsh Robin Hood. He was born Thomas Jones, Llyn. Catrin was his mother's first name, but because he was illegitimate, he used his mother's, her first name as his surname, which was the thing to do in those days. He must have had an education because he was known as a heraldic bard. He also became a magistrate, but first and foremost he's remembered for being a highwayman and a robber. And the cave he used to hide in is near where I'm located now, just south of the Llyn Brianne Dam. Now, Llyn was born in 1530 and he died in 1609, so he had a good long life. He was a highwayman. It's hard to sort out the fact from the fiction. There's no evidence that he gave from the rich to the poor, like we talk about Robin Hood, but nevertheless, it's a nice legend, and it's hard to sort out the fact from the fiction. Llyn was pardoned by Queen Elizabeth I, that's absolute fact, and he eventually married a girl. I think she was the daughter of the Sheriff of Carmarthen. So instead of being the hunted, he actually became the hunter and became a magistrate. So it's quite a turnaround. So he joined the establishment he had been fighting most of his life. So his cave is now a bird sanctuary. I think it's called Dinas Hill, and it's run by the RSPB, and there's a little car park and a walk around to the back. It's in a beautiful setting, except the fact they're now laying some pretty big pipes in the ground from the reservoir. I think the pipes are around 4 to 5 foot in diameter, so there's a bit of bulldozer noise going on. I'm going to set off now up to the dam, and I'll see you in a few minutes and introduce you to the Llyn Brianne Dam. And here we are, folks, at the Llyn Brianne Dam. And you can see the dam in front of me, and to the right of the picture you've got the overspill, which is full of water in the winter. Let me tell you about the history of the dam. Llyn Brianne, the name, well, it's a made-up name really. Before they built the dam, there was a stream round here called Llyn Brianne, which in Welsh means stream of the hills. But the map makers, we think, weren't Welsh speaking, and they came up with the name Brianne, B-R-I-A-N-N-E. So it's sort of a made-up name because they didn't speak the language. The dam itself is the tallest in the UK at 91 metres, or 300 foot if you're Jacob Rees-Mogg, and it was built in the late 60s, early 70s, finished 2 years ahead of schedule, and in 1996 they raised the dam by a metre and installed a hydroelectric station that produces 4.6 megawatts of electricity. The water behind, which I'll show you later, unfortunately Welsh Water banned kayakers from the reservoir. I don't know why. I've also been told by fishermen that the reservoir empties lots of cold water into the River Towie in the summer, which stops the trout feeding, so Welsh Water aren't particularly popular with the fishermen either. Right, we're now at the top of the dam, and let me just show you some of the scenery. I'll just take a walk over the top to get a view, and then I'll start my ride around the reservoir. Well, I'm on top of the overspill now. It's pretty terrifying. It's a 300-foot drop down to the bottom, and there is actually a video on YouTube of 3 lunatic kayakers going down that in the winter. Worth a watch. They ran the twist. And there's the actual dam. The stone and the clay that built the dam is local, and they had a stone crusher on site and worked 24 hours to get it completed 2 years ahead of schedule. Well, I've just had a great experience. After I filmed the last clip on the dam, a gentleman came up to me and said, "Nice day for riding, like you do." Got talking to him, and he was the civil engineer in charge of the bridge that goes over the dam. He's a Welshman, he's actually local to here, and him and his colleague were the first people to walk over it because they didn't want anybody else from outside the area walking over the bridge. So they kicked the shuttering off early in the morning and walked over the bridge. He's a very interesting bloke. He's raced in the Indy 500 and still races a car now, so he must have at least 10 years of me, so he's got to be in his 70s. Really nice, interesting bloke, telling me some all sorts of stories from around this part of the world. About some of the families that lived up here, lots of brothers and all the drunks that lived in Tregaron, because I think Tregaron used to spend most of their time in a pub there or just outside the pub. Quite fascinating actually. So I've just stopped now, sort of halfway around the dam in the car park with, again, the stunning views. I think there's red squirrels up here, there's a bit of information around that. And then I'm going to make my way now to the Devil's Staircase. Catch you in a bit. Hello again. I've just gone past the reservoir. I followed the Towie up for a few miles, just past the remote hostel, and I'm now stopped at the beginning of what's known as the Devil's Staircase, or the Abergwessin Pass. It's 1 in 4 or 25% hill either side, with a couple of hairpins, so it's quite exciting. And when you get to the bottom of the staircase, you've got a choice of going left or right. I'm going left because it takes me a little bit further up the A483, which has got some wonderful bends on, so I intend to enjoy them before I head back to Llandovery. Catch you later.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying that stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. Stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In the tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. And soon, then the piper will lead us to reason, and the new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forest will echo with laughter.
Hello fellow bikers, right, back home again now, put Jolene to bed, and it was a lovely ride today, but stinking hot, and like a fool I put on my leathers instead of my summer weight jacket, so I was roasting. Something I forgot to mention when I was at the top of the Devil's Staircase, that's on the edge of a bit of countryside called the Green Desert of Wales. It's basically a large expanse of land with no trees, hardly a human being in sight, and it was a name I believe that the Victorians came up with when they first saw it. So I'll put some stills up on the video to show you some pictures of it. I didn't actually go there myself, but it's not too far from the route. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.